Okay, good afternoon. We're in the final hour of the day for the markets. This is the, this is the 7th day of the new year, 7th trading day that is. And we're watching things just kind of not do a lot of very much of anything. There's some stocks that are just ripping out of their socks. They're just jumping and going. Etsy was a perfect example. We basically had a buy on Etsy last week. We got into the trade. We'll be covering that here. And it ripped up 25% higher from when we got into it. So we've taken profits off the table on that particular trade. If you didn't get in on that trade, hang on. I'll be covering a couple of stocks towards the end of this live session. And again, let's see who's joining us here. Welcome, everybody. Aloha. I'll just say hi to everybody. Now, again, I'm saying hi from Michelle's phone, simply because I'm using my phone as my camera. So let's and so what are we going to do today? We're going to basically be looking at 3 different things. One is we want to take a look at what are the index doing? The indexes are mixed today. We had the S&P earlier down a little bit, NASDAQ down a little bit, IWM, the Russell, actually up for the day. So kind of interesting with that. And then we'll take a look at some mid-course corrections we'll do on the particular stocks that we are trading. And then I have a specific stock I want to take a look at as we move forward. So let's go ahead and jump into the session. So as you can see on the chart that's above my head, actually it's on one of the screens off to my left here. So I'm going to be taking a look at this. What is the SPY doing? As we see, I've drawn in this level of resistance up here. There was a hanging man on Friday. That is still in effect. That is a bearish reversal signal. Does that mean we are going to rip and fall from the sky? Not necessarily. Look where prices have fallen to. Basically right back down to where we broke out from a little bit earlier last week. It wouldn't surprise me to see a pullback into the moving averages, though. Whenever I see a chart like this, I want to pay attention to a couple of things. Which moving average, this is for planning the trades, going forward. Which moving average is the price action respecting? Why is that important? Well, there's 2 different reasons why that's important. One, I can then plan my trades around that moving average. So what moving average is the price action respecting on the S&P or the spiders as it moves higher? As you can see, it's the 34-day moving average and or the 20. The 34 for sure, but the 20 also, which is that little purple line right there. Let me get rid of that. So why is that of interest of me? Is that way I can plan my trades and I can be patient. It helps me be patient for where the pullback's going to be. And also it lets me know that the potential or probability of a good setup at those levels is increased as it draws closer to that moving average. And so what I want to do is I want to put an alert in on prices dropping, in this particular case, somewhere between the 20-day and the 34. So since these are both pointing up, I'll put it out here a couple of days. And so I'm going to put up an alert here about 370. And I'll just go ahead and jump on that, lay in alert. There we go. And if it drops below the 371 level, that is absolutely phenomenal. That's great, because that's basically it'll tell me, hey, get ready to take action. I hope that so I've got that alert put in place. I review it. I basically have it go to my email address sometimes, or if I'm watching the index, it will just basically launch an alert over to me. Let me pull that over. And then if I want it to, if I'm not watching my computer and I want it to alarm to me, I'll basically have it give me an alarm. Here's one of my alarms. Yeah, there you go. And what that does is that tells me that the price action, go pay attention to the computer screen. That's it, end of story. So as I say, S&P, again, a little bit of a spinning top, doji, indecisive, nothing else to do there. The Qs. Qs are down about 65 cents, not 65%. The Qs stuck their head above this upward channel, and oftentimes that's a clue that, hey, we're going to potentially suffer a deeper pullback, and that's exactly what we're getting right now. We're getting a pullback down in the midsection of the range, and we're getting a bounce off of what? We're getting a bounce off of the, look to your left, the buying action that happened over here, about the 311 level. Now, it does make two days where the highs and lows are lower, so that gives us a short-term, not an intermediate, but just a micro downtrend that's going on, working within that range on this upward trending channel. Is there a chance to take action on this right now? Not really. I'll go over here and bop over and look. Let's take a look at the on the weekly chart. What we had going on was a bearish hanging man reversal signal that is still in place. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on. There's a lot of news organization out there trying to stir up our emotions, and so if you find yourself, and this is a kind of our tip for today, if you find yourself being emotional about a particular stock, an ETF, or just your uncertainty of doing the trade, stand aside. Stand aside until you can deal with the emotional side of that, because one of the things that Freud talked about is that Freud said that that as we get more emotional due to fear and all that kind of stuff, it actually makes our IQ go down. And so we don't want to be dumb traders. And so if you're getting too emotional about it, step aside. Put in your protective stops if you're in current positions, and just say, hey, not today, dude. I'm not going to be a fearful trader. So that's what we've got going on with the Qs. Let's step down to the IWM, which represents the Russell. It actually made a really nice little breakout this morning. Let's roll that across here. What did it break out from? There we go. It just basically broke back up above this line here. That was not a bearish hanging man there. And so we have taken out that high. And so that high at about the 209 level can also work for a level of support for us now. I can get rid of this Fibonacci because guess what? It has already launched past that. I will delete that, maybe, remove the drawings. What I do want to do, though, is I want to get an idea of, are we approaching any levels of potential hidden resistance? Because we're going out to new highs on this. We're in blue sky country. So I'll lay in a fib off of this last high to low, and sure enough, look at what's happening. We are approaching a point where we're reaching a 100% extension of symmetric with this move pull back right here. So it's and oftentimes that is a upside target. If it passes the 1272 and the 1618. The 200% or 100% move from the breakout is something that we could look towards. Right now, daily chart. We do not have any type of a bearish signal on IWM. The one thing that we do have, though, is that we are outside the Keltner channels, which I like to utilize. This is the 2ATR Keltner channel. And so it's outside of that. Doesn't spend a lot of time inside of that. Kind of the rule of thumb is very simple. On the two-time ATR, I think it's ATR, Keltner channels, it will hold about 95% of the price action. So if it gets outside of that, it doesn't spend a lot of time outside of that, as you can see. But when it does, it also can be reflective of a very strong move. But normally it's going to capture inside those Keltner channels, which here's the high, here's the low. I'm basing it off of the 20-day EMA. That will basically contain about 90 to 95% of all upward action. If I was to also throw on a 3 ATR Keltner, that captures about 98%. So we want to watch it, price action, if you're using a 3-time Keltner. And if you'd like more information about it, you can always go to my YouTube channel, Market Tech Talk, and I've got some good training videos there that you want to take a look at. So what am I doing with IWM? Nothing. I'm waiting. We do not have any kind of a reversal signal, and TSI, yes. Negative divergence here. We did a little bit of a squeeze going into last week, but now it's rebounding on up. Market forecast also moving on up. So that's what we've got going with that. Let's take a look at our Etsy. We don't have to do a course correction on this because it basically jumped us out of this trade. We got into Etsy, believe it or not, down here at $167. And we identified Etsy as a potential trade on the weekend. On the weekend, the New Year's weekend, so between the 31st of December last month and the 4th. So on that Sunday, I said, watch Etsy if it pulls back to where? I was saying the 34-day moving average. We picked up the trade on this a little bit over $167. We took out part of the trade yesterday at 184 for a nice 9% gain. And then the rest of the trade, it powered on up this morning. My next profit target was up here at 198, which is this past high. It blew past that this morning very nicely, but we took us out for a little bit over about a 20% gain on our position. It went on up and ran where at the total high here, we were at about a 25% gain. And I love it when that happens, and it doesn't happen every time. I don't say that it's going to happen every time. But with the way we've been trading the top 5 and how we've been trading these pullbacks, it doesn't happen every time, but it does happen all the time. Matter of fact, to the tune of about 75% of the time, we get excellent tradable, profitable trades on the top 5. If you're interested in finding more about the top 5, it's our entry level. If you're a busy person, you don't have time to follow and get the triggers and get the text alerts and all that type of stuff, and you just want to say, hey, Dennis, tell me where you're getting in, I'll follow that. The top 5 is a perfect fit for you. You get a pre-flight checklist on Sundays or Saturdays and or Sundays, and it'll tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing with the top 5 growth stocks that we have put onto our autopilot trading system. One of the things we are working on and we will have out by mid-February or the beginning of February is our autopilot leveraged ETF session, because oftentimes what we're finding is sometimes the stocks don't give us an opportunity to trade them. However, if you're looking at sector and our index ETFs, a lot of times they can be working and providing some excellent moves, sometimes to the tune of, high double-digit returns on a yearly basis on the leveraged ETFs. And I've been trading the leveraged ETFs now for, just a little over about 10 years. And so we're going to apply the autopilot trading system rules, triggers, alerts, and put out a new pre-flight checklist that'll be sent out. And of course, if you're a premium member, you get all of that stuff all together. But we'll be coming out with the pricing on that towards the end of January. Really looking forward to that. If you're looking to trade Etsy, let me get back to what I was saying. Draw a line right here. Let's go this breakout And if this breakout is to hold, what can we expect? Somewhere up between 65 and 75% of the stocks that in fact do break out will come back towards the breakout level to kind of kiss the line goodbye or say, aloha, I'm out of here, I'm heading higher. And so I want to put an alert down here about, let's say, 199 to 200. And if prices get down into that area, give me an alert, send me a notice to say, hey, Dennis, pay attention of what's going on. Take a real quick look over here to the weekly chart. What's it doing? Now, I recognize a weekly chart, really nice. Bullish engulfing on last week's chart, bullish engulfing on the week before that's chart, and right now bullish engulfing on 3 weeks ago. This is a very powerful move. We'll pay attention to it because we recognize that the end of the week or today's candle is only through Tuesday. So we have to wait till the end of the week to actually be able to interpret the candlestick for this week. Makes sense? Does that make sense? Let me check, see if there's any questions. And if you do have any questions, you join us and you are live, drop a note there in the comments. I will take time at the end to look at any comments or any stock you want us to take a look at. So that's what we're looking with Etsy. I'll cover really quick AMD. Okay, AMD, actually, we basically jumped up from, let me go back to where I want to do. Actually, we got into AMD down here at about $91 last week also, or the week before, and it basically came up. We hit one of our upside target. We hit one of our upside targets at about $94, and it jumped on up close to 99. Our next stop is up here about 105. We have earnings coming up, so we're anticipating a nice earnings move. And that's exactly what we have gotten so far. And we did some option trades on this, both a spread and a directional call option. The only thing that we have left on that is the directional call option. And we took out half the profit on that. And that's one of the last thing I want to leave you with is I want to basically show you a couple of things, and then we'll look at one other stock. Is one, I keep a stable, I identify the stables of growth stocks that I'm trading. I put them into different batches or different corrals, if you will. Here's one of them. They're my earnings trades. And every earnings season, so anyways, every quarter, 4 times a year, I trade options on these particular stocks. Right now, there are 41 of them. I do not necessarily trade on every one of them, but when I get the setups, I go and I double check this on a weekly basis, what's setting up for earnings, and I have earnings that start here at 1.7. On MU, there was no trade. And it goes all the way until 3.30, which is Restoration Hardware. And as I check on these on a weekly basis, I'm looking 2 to 3 weeks out to say, hey, is this starting its pre-earnings run? Is this starting a pre-earnings run? A couple of reasons I do that. Pre-earnings runs are really awesome because you can count on a couple of things. If you're trading options, implied volatility increases as you move towards the earnings date. So that's a very positive thing, especially if you're trading a directional option. 2, there's a tendency of stocks to do a pre-earnings run. In other words, it will run somewhere between, depending on the entity, somewhere between 5 to 5+% as it's moving up. So if you're trading options and something moves 5%, you can basically pick up some really nice profits on those, either doing spreads and or directionals. Thirdly, I'll trade the actual stock itself. There's a gain of 5 with my target gain somewhere between 5 and 10%, and that works out exceptionally well. So if you want more information about that, hey, drop me a note, DM me, leave a message in the messages on YouTube. And so that's what we've got going. Right now I'm looking at this going, as long as I maintain above my 93 or 92, I would say 92.75 level, I will stay with my AMD trade until it has earnings. I will close everything out before 126 BMO. So I will be closing all my positions out on 126. No, because it's before market opens. I'll be closing it out on 125. Or if that's a weekend, it will be the Friday before. So that's what we've got going on that. So, okay, I'll just save the rest for tomorrow about how to be a winner. Tomorrow I'll be talking about how to be a winner. You got to teach yourself to be a winner if you want to be a successful stock trader, stock and or options trader. And I'll have some tips tomorrow about how to be a winner. So until tomorrow, aloha, God bless everybody. And again, if you join us on YouTube, please subscribe to I won't say please, just if you want good, great stock information by one of the best stock pickers that's around, hit me up on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new content. And, Apple, okay. You got to get those to me just a little bit quicker. Apple, I'll give you a real quick on Apple. Apple is one of the FANG stocks. Look what Apple is doing today. Apple. And I think that's Phil. Hey, Apple is looking pretty good. I won't trade it yet, but it may be looking for a bounce off of support down here at the 126 level. It has earnings coming up 127. So it may be just about time. I'll look at that tonight for a potential trade as a pre-earnings trade. So that's what I'm looking at with Apple. So, okay, until next time, guys, again, aloha. God bless everybody. If you like these, please let me know. Save this video on Instagram TV so you can review it later. Aloha. God bless.